Hi, my name is Cian. I'm the sound guy for my hundreds of brothers and sisters, and I'm here to talk to you today about sound and what it's got to do with film in both production and post-production. Firstly, sound as a whole usually goes under the radar quite a bit when talking about movies or watching movies or whatever. That's mostly because if it's done right, you shouldn't have to think about it at all when watching it. It doesn't like take you out. It fully immerses you and clues you into what's on screen, like the characters, the dialogue, the story, everything. Whereas with bad sound production, it fully takes you out. You think about like, is that character's dialogue out of sync? That character's facial expression doesn't match with how they're saying the dialogue. Or even sound effects. That sound effect sounds like it was put in after, which they are. But you're not supposed to realise that when you're watching a movie. Mainly a good sound recordist or sound editor's job is to make you think as little about the sound as possible. Now this brings us to the actual production part of filming, the part that's actually on set, where in a lot of larger Hollywood productions they usually have about 2 to 3 people carrying out the sound tasks on set. But if you're in a relatively smaller production like ours, there's usually only about one person carrying it out with all the different equipment, such as the boom mic, which is used to record interviews if you're in a documentary production, the general atmospheric sounds of the outside and if you use it for specific sequences, and there's room sound, which is used usually to seamlessly cut clips together. It's the sound of the room if there's no one talking. The general atmosphere is like white noise, which sounds, if I'm going to do here, like that. And then there's the radio mics, usually seen in panel shows, game shows, daytime TV, usually attached here on the collar, solely to record speech, or in our case, the interviews for the contributors in our documentary. And finally, there's the headphones to listen to everything being recorded and to make sure it's all clear, and the sound mixer, where all the microphones are being connected and all the recordings are being saved. It's good to remember that each microphone is picking up part of the overall sound of the scene, and each microphone will have its own track on the editing software when I'll be editing in post-production. And once you've finished all the filming, the first thing to do in post-production for the sound editor is to sync up each recording with each corresponding video clip, which is pretty simple if you have a clapperboard on hand during production. The assistant director usually puts in front of the camera, calls quiet on set, they say roll sound, the sound recordist starts recording and says rolling. They do the same with the camera operator. They then call out the take, the scene, the roll of footage. They then clap it. Now there's a number of different types of sound in post-production, one being ADR, automated dialogue replacement. This is when dialogue is added to a scene after filming. So as you can hear now, this dialogue in particular has been added after this filming. It's not usually as bad as this, but it's just an example. There's Foley, which is the sound effects, when sound effects are recorded after and put into a scene. So if I was to scratch my shirt there, you can't actually hear me scratching my shirt. That's being recorded after. And then there's what's usually left to the very last bit of making the film, which is the music, which can be split into diegetic and non-diegetic sound. Diegetic sound is what's heard in the scene of the film, everything the characters can hear, which can be like the sound of objects, dialogue, music coming from the phone. So if I was to play this is playing within the scene of the film. I can hear it and it acts within the scene. Non-diegetic sound is usually the score, which creates the mood of the film. The characters can't hear, so it's played over, like here. And once that all comes together, hopefully you've made a film that completely captures the tone and experience you've been looking for. And that's about it for my little dip into what goes on in film sound. Feel free to like and subscribe. We also have the link for our GoFundMe for our documentary in the description, and any amount would be much appreciated. So thanks for watching.